Hello, welcome to Together Both. It is such a beautiful day out today, just perfect to record. And today we're going to talk about whether God treated humanity unjustly when he flooded the earth. And we're going to look into that on this part 2 of the Rainbow Connection right after this. Okay, I think the story of Noah and the Ark might be one of the most well-known stories around the world. Other than the beginning and maybe Christmas, most everyone knows about God sending all the animals to Noah after he built the humongous ark, right? Did you know that they've recreated that ark in Kentucky? I've had the opportunity to check it out. It is massive. If you get a chance to go, wear really good shoes. That's my tip. It is so cool. You should go, but I'm warning you, it's a ton of walking. Okay, back to Noah. See, there are people with the opinion that God did a bad thing when he flooded the earth, that it was an unjustifiable action, that it was awful. And to be honest, I'd never even thought about that before I heard their opinions on it. To me, it was a Bible school story I learned as a kid, probably in VBS. I've been talking a lot at VBS. See, God was angry, and he started over with Noah. I'd never really thought about whether God was justified in his actions or not. I mean, he's God. Who am I to question his decisions? But God has given us free will, and with that free will, we have the ability to question and to seek answers. See, man has been questioning God and disobeying since the very beginning, so why should it surprise me that they don't agree with him now? So anyway, let's look up the info. First up, let's see what the Bible says in Genesis 6, verses 5 through 6. The Lord saw how great the wickedness of the human race had become on the earth, and that every inclination of the thoughts of the human heart was only evil all the time. The Lord regretted that he had made human beings on the earth, and his heart was deeply troubled. It's such a heavy statement. The whole human race, their thought process was totally focused on evil so much that God regretted making us. That's just mind-blowing, folks. That's something. So right there is the main reason God decided to start over. But let's delve deeper into God's thoughts on humanity and see if we can shed more light on this. Let's check it out in Romans 9, verse 20 through 23. But who are you, a human being, to talk back to God? Shall what is formed say to the one who formed it, why did you make me like this? Does not the potter have the right to make out of the same lump of clay some pottery for special purpose and some for common purpose? What if God, although choosing to show his wrath and make his power known, bore with great patience the objects of his wrath, prepared for destruction? What if he did this to make the riches of his glory known to the objects of his mercy, whom he prepared in advance for glory? I love that beginning. Who are you, O man, to question God? Cannot God take out his wrath on evil to show those he calls righteous his mercy? But Dave, that doesn't sound like a kind and compassionate God to me. I gotta admit, it kind of doesn't. This is God showing that he will not tolerate sin. He cannot and will not abide it. But it also shows compassion to those sinners. Wait, how can you say that? How can that be? He just wiped them out, killed them all by drowning. Well, yeah, that's true. And according to Hebrews 9:29, as it is appointed unto man once to die, but after that, the judgment. See, we are born, but we're also slated to die. It's an inescapable fact. God knows when and how we die. He just knows. The people that died in that flood would have died at some point, but God chose that time as their death. He didn't act unjustly if they're all slated for death from the moment they were born. Okay, we're going to dive in even one step deeper, folks. You see, these folks in the Old Testament times, they lived a very, very, very long time. Noah himself was 600 years old when God sent the flood. That's a very old man, long time. The people said every living being practiced evil except for Noah. Now, folks, we know that sin brings its own types of pain. It corrupts what God originally planned for us. See, we all have sin in our hearts. We all see it around the world. We know the consequences to human soul it inflicts. Can you imagine a toll of 600 plus years of sin on these folks' lives? But Dave, what about the children? That's always what we ask, isn't it? What about the children? Weren't they innocent? Maybe. But what do you think they would have grown up to be? Who would have taught them to escape sin? No, folks, far from being an unjust God and doing a horrible act, God showed mercy in what we see as cutting those lives short. How many children did he keep from becoming ensnared in the chains of sin? Innocents were saved from the evils of that generation. We know the adults went on to judgment, but that was their fate anyway. That's everybody's fate. No, I say God was just and showed mercy to Noah, his family, and millions of children. See, God is always just in his actions, whether we humans recognize it or not. He loves us so much, more than we can even fathom. He longs that we come to him. He doesn't wish to lose any one of us to the fate of sin. But folks, it is up to us to answer his call. He's not going to persuade you anyway. He's not going to twist you. He's going to lay it out before you. But it's up to you to take up that call and to come to him. Noah was found faithful. He answered God's call. What about you? Is he calling to you? He's not going to grab you and make you do it. But is he calling to you? Is he calling out? Okay, if he is, answer him. Talk to him. That's what he wants. Okay, in the next episode of this series, we're going to look into how Christians should react to homosexuality and what God would have us do. And until then, may God richly bless you, may he shine upon you, and thanks for watching Together Both.